Hello there, I'm Marcus Hinds, Hinds Realty Group here in Walnut Creek, and I wanted to do a little informational segment that I think would benefit a lot of people, especially heading into the holidays and planning what to do for your real estate portfolio for next year. The segment's called Renting versus Owning versus Buying with Family and Friends. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some interesting concepts that I've learned over the years that I think you might find helpful. First, we're going to look at renting. If you guys are renting a house, there's my picture of a house. I'm an artist. Let's say that you're going to live, we're going to use an example of Concord. So let's say a nice neighborhood of Concord, middle area, you're going to spend at least $2,500 in rent. So to find a nice house, 3-bedroom home, at least about $2,500 is what you're going to spend. That's what we're planning on, that's what we're going to use for an example. Now using that same example for buying, right? If you were to buy a home, buying a home, let's say you found a house in Concord, decent area, 450, 475 range, 450 to 475 range. You're going to look at a payment, a monthly mortgage payment of about $3,000. That'll cover everything, about $3,000 per month. Okay? What we need for that, for a $3,000 a month payment, is about $15,000 down. You can use that from your 401k, from savings. If you got to sell a boat or sell a car, or borrow the money, it could be gifted from family and friends. About a $15,000 down payment gets you a $3,000 mortgage to buy a house, nice, decent house, 450, 475 range. Okay, now, here's where it gets good, okay? 25% of that payment, that $3,000, is a tax write-off. Now, the rental at $2,500 a month is zero. There's no tax benefits to a $2,500 payment. Here's what this looks like. $2,500 rent, actually, because you're paying taxes on that money, and everybody listening to this is probably in about a 30% tax bracket. Let's use $750. If you're paying $2,500 in rent, let's make that actually $750, because what you're doing is you're paying taxes on that money. You're paying 30% on that money. So $2,500, roughly $750, you're looking at $3,250. Renting at $2,500 really costs you $3,250. Okay, so follow me on this. That's what your effective payment of renting a home at $2,500 is. Now, flip the script. At a $3,000 mortgage, you have a tax write-off. Not everything's a tax write-off. Your principal payment that you pay towards the principal amount that you borrow is not a tax write-off. There's three other elements in a mortgage payment. There's your interest, your taxes, and your insurance. Your interest, your taxes, and your insurance are all three a tax write-off. So when you balance them out, here's a good multiplier. Take the $3,000, 25%, about 25% of the payment is a tax write-off. So if we take $3,000 mortgage payment times 25%, that comes out to about $750. So a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, roughly, after tax savings, costs you $2,250. If you're renting, it costs you $3,250. If you're buying, $2,250. That being said, when you buy a home, some of us are renting out rooms. Maybe you're willing to rent out 2 rooms if that's what it takes to buy a home. So follow this example. If you buy a house, your effective payment is $2,250. And then if you rent out 2 rooms, the Bay Area, include water, utilities, nice clean room, $750. Sound about right? So $2,250 minus the rental of 2 rooms, $750 times 2. Make that $1,500. So now your effective payment after taxes, your tax savings, meaning you're either going to give Uncle Sam the money or you're going to keep it and invest it. The government wants us to invest, and that's why they give tax breaks for certain things. Home and the roof over our head is one of the safest investments we can make, because you got to pay to live somewhere. So $2,250 minus $1,500 a month. $2,250 is your effective mortgage payment after tax savings. $1,500 is what you're going to bring in for rent, for renting out 2 rooms. That gives you the total cost of living of owning a home at $750 a month. $750 a month. You could be a homeowner, effectively. Now, here's where it gets even better. After 2 years, remember I said the government wants us to invest. They want us to invest in our future. They want us to be self-reliant. Well, hopefully. 2 years, owning a home, The profit is tax-free money. $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, whatever you make for equity, meaning what you bought it for versus what it goes up in the marketplace, that's your equity. Whatever that amount is tax-free money. So after 2 years or more, it's tax-free money on any profit you make on the home. So if you make $10,000 tax-free, it's like making $13,000 or $14,000. Again, it's not taxed. Now, natural inflation, let's say a 3% inflation. So you buy a house for $450 with a 3% inflation, that's right around $13,000 a year. $450,000, again, 3% inflation, rough numbers, that gives you about $13,000 per year tax-free money on average. Maybe a house goes up somewhere between 7 and 13, somewhere in that range. Okay? Now that's the example of buying a home. Very simply broken down. And also, you guys, if you have any questions, text me the questions. I've got people here helping me. Let me know the questions you have and I want to break them down for you. Not a problem. Here's a third example. We're going into the holiday season. You want to buy a home. You need help. Maybe you want to buy an investment property. Here's the safest investment if you don't own a property. Buy a fourplex. You buy a fourplex in a really nice area. You live in one and you rent the other 3 out. Later on, you move into your own property. You pull a little profit out. You buy your own house. And you keep that fourplex generating income for you and maybe a family member. So here's an example of that. Buying an investment with partners, family, friends, etc. A fourplex. You buy a 4-unit building. Let's say you buy in a really nice area. So now you've got a fourplex, you buy it for $800,000. You need about a $30,000 down payment. If you don't have the $30,000, what can you do? Go to a partner, family or friends. Have them pull out that $30,000. $30,000 pulled out from someone's home, a refinance, is only going to cost them about $200 a month. $200 a month, and they could pull $30,000 out of their house and loan that to you and partner up with you. Now it costs them $200 a month for that cost. If you bought a fourplex at $800,000, putting $30,000 down, rough numbers, your payment's going to be about $5,400. It'll cost about $5,400 for that entire fourplex. But look at this. If you live in one unit and you rent the other 3 out, live in one, you rent the other 3 out at $1,750. 3 units rented out at $1,750 comes out to $5,250. That's what it's going to bring in up against the $5,400 total mortgage. Well, look at this, $150 is your cost. You could live in one of the units for $150 plus the $200 that it costs to borrow that money. So really that $150 turns into living in a unit for $350. You live in one and you rent the other 3 out. Now check this out. Let's say in the future, 3, 4, 5 years, you get married, you move on, you pull some profit out of that property and you buy your own house. You might keep this fourplex for you and your grandma, you and your mom, you and your brother, you and your sister. You partnered up on something. Make it an investment opportunity for both of you. Here's what you do. Now remember, after 2 years, this property, well, 25% of it is tax-free because you'll be living in one of the units. Let's say you kept it. You rented all 4 units out. All 4 units rented out at $1,750 is $7,000 a month. The cost, remember, $5,400. The cost is $5,400. $7,000 if you rent out all 4 units and you moved out. $5,400 is the actual payments. You profit $1,600 a month. That $1,600 a month you can split with you and your partner, you and grandma. What a great retirement. Or about $19,000 a year. Passive cash flow, that's called, meaning you don't work for it. $19,000 a year, passive cash flow. Typical rental property, remember, about a 3% inflation. You got natural inflation. Typically with rents, you build in about a 2% rent factor. So what that would look like is 2% times that. So that looks like something like around $1,500 a year increase in rents is a realistic amount every year, compounding, making more profits. So could you live in a unit, a fourplex, live in one? Actual cost is $350. You partner up with somebody, friend, family, grandma, grandpa, whoever you're going to be with over the holidays. Pitch the idea if you like it. And afterwards, you can move out and you're making passive cash flow. Or while you're living there, again, $350 a month to be living in a unit that you're owning, and it's going to be going up equity-wise, and you'll be making positive rents. So you got these positive rents coming in of about 19, the next year 20,500, the third year 22,000. That's coming in for positive rents. But then 10 years down the road, this $800,000 property, let's say it's worth, I don't know, 1.1 million to be super conservative, right? So 10 years down the road, you got 10 years worth of $20,000 of passive cash flow, and you've got whatever it went up in value, 1.1 million. So basically people are paying you 20,000 plus a year while your property is going up in equity $200,000 or $300,000. It's a really easy number to hit. If this sparked any interest or any ideas, or if you have any questions, text them over to me. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm Marcus Hinds with Hinds Realty Group, and thank you for tuning in. Take care.